Most pitchers walk to the dugout. They sit down. They pull a jacket over their arm. They watch the bullpen take over the job they wanted to finish. Some slam their glove. Some stare at the wall. Some disappear into the tunnel before the inning is even over. What Shohei Ohtani did in the moments immediately after manager Dave Mendoza walked to the mound in the sixth inning, after a pitching performance so masterful that the entire stadium had been holding its breath hoping he would never leave, was something so unexpected, so quietly extraordinary, that Mendoza himself could not find words for it right away. When he finally did speak, standing in front of the media after the game, the sentence that came out was short. Unscripted. The kind of thing a person says when they are still processing something that surprised them genuinely. Unbelievable, Mendoza said. Not about the pitching. Not about the velocity. Not about the spin rates or the strikeout numbers that would fill the box score and dominate the next morning's headlines. About what Ohtani did after the pitching stopped. Before we talk about what happened in the dugout, we need to understand what Ohtani built across those 6 innings. Because the context is everything. What he did after leaving the game only makes sense when you feel the full weight of what he was asked to leave behind. From the first pitch of the game, Ohtani was different. Not different from other pitchers, different from himself. Different from the careful, measured return that the baseball world had been expecting from a man coming back from Tommy John surgery. Different from the conservative approach that every sports medicine professional and cautious coaching staff would have prescribed. He attacked. From pitch 1, he attacked. The fastball was sitting at 158, touching 160. The sweeper was breaking so late and so sharply that opposing batters were making decisions before the ball had finished deciding where it was going. His splitter, the pitch that has always been the quiet weapon in an arsenal full of loud ones, was dropping out of the strike zone at a depth that made professional hitters look briefly like they had never seen a baseball before. Through 2 innings, perfect. No hits, no walks, 5 pitches that ended in strikeouts. Through 4 innings, 1 hit, a soft single that found a gap more through geometry than quality contact. 6 strikeouts. Pitch count sitting at a number that made the Dodgers coaching staff exhale with relief. He was not burning through pitches. He was being efficient. Surgical. Through 5 innings, still dominant. The opposing lineup had now seen him twice through the order, and the adjustments they attempted, laying off the sweeper, sitting on the fastball, trying to extend at-bats with foul balls, were failing. Ohtani was adjusting faster than they were. Every time a batter found a strategy, Ohtani had already moved somewhere else. The stadium was alive in that specific way that only a dominant pitching performance creates. Not the explosive, punching the air energy of a home run. Something quieter and more sustained. The crowd breathing together. The collective awareness that something rare was happening, and that the right response was attention rather than noise. By the time the 6th inning began, the word was already circulating in the press box, in the stands, in the dugout of the opposing team. Complete game. Maybe. If the pitch count holds. If the manager is willing. If. Then Dave Mendoza walked to the mound. In baseball, the manager's walk to the mound in the middle of a dominant performance is one of the sport's most delicate moments. Everyone understands what it means before a word is exchanged. The pitcher knows. The catcher knows. The 50,000 people in the stands know. It means the night is ending. Not because it went wrong. Because someone in the dugout, looking at numbers and percentages and the long calendar of a 162-game season, decided that enough was enough for tonight. Mendoza's walk was slow. Not hesitant, measured. The walk of a man who has made a decision he believes in but understands the weight of. When he reached the mound and took the ball from Ohtani, the stadium dipped into that particular silence that is louder than noise. Ohtani's performance by that point, 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. ERA for the outing, 0.00. Pitch count, 87. By every traditional measure, there was an argument for letting him continue. He was not laboring. He was not losing velocity. The stuff was still electric. Mendoza took the ball anyway. The season is long. The arm is precious. The decision was correct and defensible and logical and real. And then Ohtani did something that nobody in that dugout was expecting. Here is what the cameras caught, and what they didn't. What the broadcast showed: Ohtani walking off the mound to a standing ovation. Removing his cap. Acknowledging the crowd with a brief, composed nod. Disappearing into the dugout. What the cameras did not show, what Mendoza would only describe afterward in fragmented, still surprised sentences, happened in the 90 seconds after Ohtani reached the bench. He did not sit down. He did not pull the jacket over his arm and stare at the field the way pitchers do when the mound has been taken from them and the game belongs to someone else now. He walked directly to the pitching chart. The detailed, handwritten breakdown of every pitch thrown that evening, the sequence, the location, the result, the count. He picked it up. And standing in the corner of the dugout, still in his pitching gear, arms still warm from the final pitch of the 6th inning, he began studying it. Not the section covering his own performance, he knew that by heart. He was studying the section covering the at-bats he had not yet faced. The 7th, 8th, and 9th inning hitters. Batters he would not face tonight. Batters he was preparing to face the next time. Mendoza noticed. He said nothing. He watched. Ohtani spent 7 minutes with that chart before the bullpen took the mound. 7 minutes in which every other pitcher in that dugout, having just thrown 87 pitches in a masterful 6-inning outing, would have been icing his arm, accepting congratulations, or retreating into the tunnel for the physical recovery that elite pitching demands. Ohtani was doing homework. After the game, a Dodgers victory, the bullpen holding the lead that Ohtani had built and handed to them, Mendoza met the media in his usual post-game session. He was asked about Ohtani's pitching line first. He gave the answers those questions deserved. Dominant. Special. The stuff is back. The command is there. The competitor is fully present. Then a reporter asked the follow-up question that changed the tone of the room. Did anything stand out to you after he came out? Mendoza paused. Not the pause of a man searching for the approved organizational language. The pause of a man replaying something in his mind, trying to find words adequate to it. Unbelievable, he said finally. I mean, I've been in this game a long time. You take a guy out after a performance like that, the normal thing is they sit down, they decompress. They've earned that. Shohei walks in and goes straight to the pitching chart. He stopped again. Shook his head slightly. He was preparing for the next start. Right there. In the dugout. His arms still warm. The room was quiet for a moment in the way press conference rooms rarely are. Then the follow-up questions started, and Mendoza answered them, but the original sentence had already done its work. His arms still warm. That detail. That specific, physical detail. The image of a man who has just thrown 87 elite pitches in the most dominant outing of his 2025 comeback, standing in a dugout corner, chart in hand, preparing for a game that is weeks away, it landed on the baseball world and did not let go. To understand why Mendoza's reaction was so genuine, you need to understand the particular psychology that Ohtani displayed in that dugout moment. Elite athletes in every sport manage the difficult transition between performance and preparation differently. Some need distance, emotional and physical separation from one competitive moment before they can begin thinking about the next. Some need celebration, even briefly, to mark the boundary between effort and reward. Some need stillness. Rest. The deliberate act of not thinking about the game for a defined period, because sustained attention without recovery erodes focus rather than sharpening it. All of these approaches have produced elite careers. All of them are defensible. All of them are recognizable to any serious coach who has managed at a high level. What Ohtani did in that dugout belonged to none of those categories. He did not need distance. He did not need celebration. He did not need stillness. He needed the next problem. The completion of one task, 6 innings, 1 hit, 9 strikeouts, a lead delivered to the bullpen, did not feel to him like the end of something requiring acknowledgement. It felt like the natural opening of the next task. The next start. The next lineup. The next set of batters who needed to be studied, mapped, and prepared for. For Mendoza, a man who has coached and managed professional baseball players for decades, this is not entirely unfamiliar as a concept. He knows the type. Obsessive preparers. Film room devotees. Players who never fully leave the game even when the game has technically released them. But seeing it in the raw, physical form that Ohtani demonstrated, chart in hand, pitching arms still warm, teammates giving congratulations he was not fully present to receive, made it something more than familiar. It made it visible in a way that got through even to a seasoned baseball professional. Hence, unbelievable. Ohtani was not the only one who noticed what happened in the dugout. His teammates were there. And the reaction that rippled quietly through the Dodgers bench in those 7 minutes said something important about the culture Ohtani's presence creates. No one interrupted him. No one brought him an ice bag and waited for him to stop. No one offered the standard round of congratulations that a 9-strikeout outing normally generates immediately and loudly in a professional dugout. They read the room. They saw what he was doing and they made space for it, instinctively, without discussion, without anyone directing them. That kind of collective instinct does not happen in a vacuum. It happens in a clubhouse where the tone has been set clearly enough that everyone understands, without being told, what focus looks like and what it deserves. Ohtani sets that tone. Not through speeches or demands. Through moments exactly like this one, visible, wordless demonstrations of what serious preparation looks like when it is not performing for anyone, when the cameras have moved to the bullpen and the crowd is watching a different pitcher, and a man is still in the corner studying a pitching chart with his arms still warm. Dave Mendoza has used that word in a career's worth of post-game press conferences. He has applied it to home runs, to defensive plays, to comeback victories, to the particular magic that a baseball game generates on its best nights. When he used it to describe Ohtani's behavior in the dugout after being removed from a masterful 6-inning outing, he was not reaching for hyperbole. He was being precise. Because what he witnessed was genuinely outside the range of behavior his experience had taught him to anticipate. Not because it was irrational. Not because it was wrong. Because it was so completely, uncomplicatedly directed at excellence that it bypassed every normal human impulse, the desire for acknowledgement, for rest, for the small satisfactions that make difficult work sustainable. Ohtani doesn't need those things. Or more accurately, he has found them inside the work itself. The chart is not a burden. The preparation is not a sacrifice. For him, standing in that dugout corner with a pitching chart and a warm arm, preparing for a start that is weeks away, that is the reward. That is what Mendoza saw. And that is why the word that came out, unscripted and genuine, in front of a roomful of reporters after a Dodgers victory, was the one that required no elaboration. Unbelievable. Not because it was beyond belief. But because seeing it, real and unperformed, right in front of him, it still felt that way.